So this is the frunk of the F150 Lightning, fully electric pickup truck from Ford. Welcome to It's Only Electric. It's time for a full review of the F150 Lightning. Liters of cargo space and some extra space underneath here for storing cables or even cooling your drinks, because it is drainage holes, so any water will drain away and you don't need to worry about that. This is really a game changer when it comes to pickup trucks. I mean, normally you put all your things when out shopping, for instance, in the bed at the back, if you have a bed cover, or in the back seat. But in this case, you can use it as a normal car and put all your things, all your groceries inside the frunk. You have hooks everywhere, 4 hooks for securing your cargo. It's really convenient, and this really makes a big difference. I mean, the size of this frunk is bigger than a lot of normal traditional cars' trunks. So that's really a game changer and creates some extra versatility. On top of that, also a fully electrically powered hood with a great beeping sound. So let's continue and have a look at the bed. 1,500 liters of storage in the bed. This is covered with a bed cover to protect it from rain and wind and theft, etc. With a solid lip and a built-in staircase and a railing. And with this combination, it's really easy to climb into the bed and grab the things. It comes with 3 different power outlets at the back, independent lighting that you can operate from here. And also one of the outlets actually lets you connect this power cord and has a maximum output of 7.2 kilowatts. That means that you can crank out a lot of energy for your power tools, and you can power whatever you want actually, because that's a lot. It apparently also comes with a cat. He's usually here, it's the neighbor's cat, and he sometimes joins me. He just jumped up and got scared when I turned on the camera again. So let's continue and look at the size of the F150. And as you see, this is a giant car. It's a bit taller than me, 2 meters tall, 5.9 meters long. Yes, I said 5.9. Normally, big cars close to 5 meters is counted as really big, but this is 1 meter longer. It has a wheelbase of 3.7 meters and has a weight of 2.9 tons. This is the extended range version in Lariat trim. It has the big battery with a net capacity of 131 kilowatt hours and a gross capacity of 143 kilowatt hours. So it's a really big battery. It has a EPA range of 515 kilometers. And I said EPA, I normally report VLTP range. I haven't found any official VLTP range for this car here in Sweden or Europe, but it's probably around 540 or 550 kilometers. So the Lariat version is running on 20-inch wheels as standard. So the dimensions, 20-inch wheels, 275 and 60 in tire dimensions all around, so non-staggered, same tires all the way. This is a car full of testosterone, and you really feel it when you're close to the car, when you drive the car. It has 580 horsepower, driving on all 4 wheels, 1051 newton meters of torque. It has a top speed of 180 kilometers per hour and does 0 to 60 miles per hour in 4 seconds flat. So I haven't been able to find any specific 0 to 100 kilometers per hour time. I've also made a video about range, acceleration, noise, and consumption of this specific car. And in that video, you will see more exactly what it's capable of. So stay tuned for that one. Almost all Chuck Norris jokes is possible to translate into lightning jokes. The lightning is like Chuck Norris. For instance, you can't put the lightning into your European garage. The lightning puts the garage into itself. This morning I actually tried to fit it into the garage. Impossible. 1 meter too long, way too wide. So if you have a small, older garage, live in Sweden, you shouldn't count on putting it inside your garage. Keep it outside. But this one will probably be fine, so don't worry. I have another Chuck Norris joke for you. God said, "Let there be light." Lightning said, "Say please." And this is why. There is light everywhere. You can light up a 360 view around the car, front, side, backwards, and especially backwards. There's like 6 different lights at the back, lighting up the whole area during nighttime. So if you need to work during nighttime or unloading or loading the car, so just activate the lights and you will feel like it's daytime. I have borrowed this car from Exclusive Cars. The Ford F150 Lightning is not officially available in Sweden, so Ford is not selling it in Europe at all. So Exclusive Cars is actually selling these on the Swedish market and adapting them to the European market. So when it comes to charging, Exclusive Cars actually replaced and retrofitted a CCS connector to this one, and that's really good. Peak charging capacity, according to Ford spec, is 155 kilowatts, but I have seen people charging it in 175 kilowatts. That's a decent speed. It's a big battery, but still a good speed. When it comes to AC charging, it's a bit more complicated. It has a top speed of 19 kilowatts, but keep in mind that on the Swedish market, we are charging on 3 phases. Currently, this one, hardware-wise, only supports 1 phase, which means that you need to have a strong phase at home or kind of a converter. So if you have 16 amps on 1 phase, that will probably be enough to charge it during night. But if you drive too much, you need to consider having other options for charging at home. So hardware-wise, capable of delivering power back into your house. So vehicle to grid and vehicle to load functionality is possible, but not yet on the European market. You need to have Ford's own wall connector to be able to deliver the power back into the home. So let's move on and look at the interior. Let's start with the back seat. This is the car you need to climb into. Fortunately, there is a step to climb on. A really roomy back seat, fairly flat seats here at the back, fairly straight backrest, but still a comfortable seat with real leather in this case. A lot of leg room, so the front seat is adjusted after my position. I think it's even set to easy entry, so it's further back than my driving position, but still more than enough room. This is probably one of the cars with the most space I have ever tested. The floor position is a bit high, so not that much of a thigh support. You feel that the floor line is a bit higher than in regular cars, but totally flat, so no hump in the middle, makes the center position easy to utilize. One cool thing is that it comes with extra storage underneath the seats. So we can store a lot of things actually, and it goes all the way under the back seat, the back bench. That's great. And a small window possible to open to load long things into the car. In the mid console you have 2 cup holders, seat heating for controlling heating in 2 steps on the 2 outer positions. The ventilations are manually adjustable, and you have a couple of power options. So a classic cigarette lighter outlet, 12 volt, one latch with a USB-A port, a USB-C port for charging your devices, and one 120 volts 20 amp outlet. It's 3 pins, so in Sweden you need to use an adapter, but still 20 amps, that's a good delivery, so you can charge most of the things and power like computers, etc. So a built-in armrest with 2 cup holders, pretty soft and sturdy, nothing advanced, but still adds to the comfort in the back seat. So in total you have 4 cup holders, so bring your coffee and the soda and let's have a party. Another thing that's fairly uncommon when it comes to trucks in this size, there is actually a panoramic openable glass roof. So let's open it and have a look. So that's all from the back seat. Let's jump into the front seat. In the front, heated and ventilated seats, 3-step each on both positions. Comfortable seats, leather seats, of course perforated for letting the ventilation going through the leather. Otherwise, a very high dashboard with a lot of different materials. Feels luxurious for being a pickup truck. I mean, a lot of different materials. Most of it is hard plastic, but still implemented in a good and nice looking way. Looks like a metal, but most of it are plastic, or all of it are plastic in some way. But I guess that's what you want and need in this kind of a car. It's still a work car, a workhorse, so it needs to be durable, and plastic is of course durable and easy to change. A big truck-like steering wheel. I think that suits the car. A too small steering wheel will look really strange on such a big car. Feels good to hold. The buttons is not haptic. Real buttons with a lot of travel, easy to find, good layout. 2 screens, and this is the Lariat version, so it comes with a bigger entertainment screen of 15.5 inch. I like the orientation, suits the interior well, and this is a cool feature. Looks exactly the same as in the Mustang Mach-E. A good solution, I think. And the instrument cluster in the middle, 12 inch, fully digital, nicely placed far inside the instrument cluster, so it's very well protected from sun reflections and reflections at all, so that's good. 2 power outlets in the front, so traditional 12 volt 120 20 amps, the same as in the back, so good support. Here you have a QI charger with 2 USB ports, one USB-C, one USB-A, so you have a lot of options for powering your devices. A traditional gear selector or gear knob, you can hide it by pressing that button. That's not only aesthetics, it also brings a nice functionality, and that's this. You can actually split the armrest in the middle to create a big workspace. Put the laptop, connect it to the power outlet and work as long as you want. The Lariat version also comes with Bang & Olufsen sound system, 8 speakers. The top trim actually comes with 18 speakers. It comes with a lot of storage. Very big storage compartment inside this mid console with a USB-C and a USB-A port. You have the storage here underneath. The cup holders, 2 glove boxes and one at the top. And really big door pockets on all 4 doors actually, so a lot of storage. I'm not used to Ford's entertainment system, but I kind of like it. It's fairly easy to use. There is a lot of settings concerning towing, smart hitch, etc. Things that I'm not used to, but for people used to driving trucks, pickups, it's probably all fine and nothing strange. Different drive modes, so normal, sport, off-road and tow mode. You can also activate one pedal driving for heavier regenerative braking. If you want to drive it with one pedal and minimize the usage of the brake pedal, you can also lock the differential for more tough and demanding conditions in off-road mode. One really good thing and one thing that Exclusive Cars has put a lot of effort into is to adopt the F150 Lightning for the Swedish market. And that means that they also have translated the operating system to Swedish. Keep in mind though that you can't receive any over-the-air updates. Because of that, you need to update it locally at your car dealer for getting the latest software. Feels stable and seems like all the functionality are in place and seems to be working fine, at least what I have been able to test during these days. So a really impressive work from Exclusive Cars. There's also a onboard scale functionality. You can actually weigh the cargo, both the passengers and the cargo on the bed, to make sure that you're not traveling with a too heavy load. This is the zone lights I was talking about. You can actually activate different lights on different sites. One important feature, at least for me, and that's that this car is actually capable of wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Works really good. I have tested Android Auto for a while. That's an important feature for cars like the F150 with operating systems. Doesn't give you everything you need. So if you're using Google Maps, for instance, work very good to navigate with Google Maps, and it also shows you the directions and the actions in the instrument cluster in a well integrated way. You have some built-in games. You can, for instance, drive a race car and change lanes. So that's enough of talking. It's time for test driving this big boy. I will try and toggle the different drive modes, the regen level, the comfort, the suspension, and how it behaves on the road. I will also try the different autonomous driving aid functions like the Blue Cruise. So let's go. Well, inside the F150 Lightning, it's a lot more silent and also a lot more sophisticated and smooth than I was expecting, really. And I think the individual suspension really helps out on those points. But it also seems like Ford has put in a lot of effort to keep the cabin silent. I mean, there is not a lot of road noise, double pane windows, acoustic glass in the front, really thick windows, helps to insulate the cabin in a good way. So a really relaxing experience. Now set to drive mode normal, and as I said earlier, there is a couple of different drive modes: normal, sport, off-road, and tow mode. No eco mode. So driving in normal mode now. Very comfortable, light steering wheel. You don't need to turn it that much. Suspension is not active, so a static normal suspension, but individual also in the back. That's a very good thing to have in a pickup. Normally that's not the case. So I really like the driving dynamics. There is of course a bit of a side roll because it's a big, heavy, and on top of that a car with high ground clearance that almost weighs 3 tons. So I didn't expect anything else. So let's turn it into sports mode to see if it behaves any different. I mean, the suspension behaves the same. It's not possible to adjust. The biggest difference is of course the responsiveness on the accelerator, but also the turn ratio of the steering wheel. So on normal, you don't need to use as much motion to steer. In sports mode, it's a bit more tidy and precise. Small movements, doesn't give that big movement on the front axle. I actually prefer the steering in sports mode because it's I think that's the way to go on highways, because it behaves better. Yeah, I'm gonna see if I can feel the difference between accelerations when it comes to sports and normal. So now I'm on, let's switch back to normal. Picks up really good at normal. I don't know if I will be able to feel any difference at all, because it's really quick. Yeah, yes, it's a difference. I feel a difference in my body. Even if it pulls very good in normal, more than enough, it's a bit more aggressive on sport mode. Gives me a bit more of a wheel spin on the front wheels. Despite its size and its weight, it feels stable and it's pretty maneuverable and behaves as you would expect. No specific understeering. Let's try the brakes. I mean, it's nice braking performance. Disc brakes all around, together with individual suspension and a weight distribution of 50-50. So that all together gives this pickup a lot better driving experience and driving dynamics than you would expect, than I would expect. A lot better, actually. It's not a race car, but you have the race car like power. I mean, 580 horsepower and over 1,000 Newton meters of torque. That's not bad. That's not bad at all. So one pedal drive mode is only available in normal and sports mode, not available in tow or off-road mode. But I really recommend you to drive it on one pedal driving when using normal or sport, because when I let go of the accelerator, it really comes to a stop. This is the way I want to drive a fully electric car. It makes total sense to me. Will extend the lifespan of your disc brakes, but also regain some lost energy and give you a couple of extra miles of range. It's time to try it on some gravel, a bit of a rougher roads, to see how it behaves, how the noise level gets affected. It's still very silent. Fun to drive. This will be a really fun car to drive in off-road conditions, in some mud, on some wet roads. You could have really fun with it. Some potholes and road bumps, no problem at all. This is what this car is made for. I'm not surprised, but still impressive. One problem though, or not a problem, but one thing to think of is the very big turning radius of this car. I mean, it's 6 meters long almost. That makes it hard to turn and make U-turns and use in small areas, on small roads. You get used to it, but the bad turning radius really doesn't help. I guess it's because of the four-wheel drive. Let's try some more. Oh, this is fun to drive. Can barely hold it to drive calm in this car on this kind of roads. Driving in harsh conditions, no problem for this car at all. Doesn't even get uncomfortable. And it behaves really good with this four-wheel drive. I mean, pushing it in the corners, but still stays on top, stays in control, stays on the road without losing its character. Back on some nice roads again, asphalt, smooth, gives you that floating feeling, like you're floating on top of the water, really smooth. I think the only weakness I have discovered with the suspension and the setup of the F150 Lightning is in higher speeds, the floaty feeling gives you a couple of extra bumps when driving on uneven surfaces. For instance, over a small bump on the highway, floats up, but then gives you like 1 or 2 extra bounces when falling back down. I don't know if you know it, or if you have felt it before, but it almost feels like an old car with a bit of a worn out suspension. I mean, I'm not trying to say that the suspension feels worn out on the F150, but on high speeds in that specific condition, at least for me, it gives me 1 or 2 bumps too much. I wanted to stabilize immediately after the first bump and then pick it right back up without doing those 2 extra bumps. And I think a lot of you driving pickup trucks or SUVs are used to that kind of behavior, especially American cars tend to have a bit more floating suspension to give you that extra amount of comfort. So I think that's more or less by purpose. Let's test the autonomous functionality. In the instrument cluster, it's possible to change the view. It's called My View. In the center of the display, you can switch between several different views. Let's activate the Blue Cruise. That's Ford's autopilot functionality. Let's turn it on by using the buttons on the left of the steering wheel. Activate it. And now Blue Cruise is active, keeping us in the lane. And you see the symbols around the car, surrounding the car. It keeps the distance to the car in front of you. And it doesn't matter what speed you set it to. You set the distance by clicking this icon here. And that's the distance to the cars in front. There's 4 different levels. And as you see, it's nagging me about keep my eyes on the road. So even if I'm wearing sunglasses, it sees that I'm looking at the instrument cluster and the steering wheel instead of the road. And that's thanks to the infrared camera placed here. And there also seems to be one placed here far out to the left. So let's decrease the distance to the car in front of me. 2 feels good. So now it's actually driving by itself, keeping me in the lane, taking corners, etc., and turns, and works really good. One neat feature is that when I want to switch the lane, I just turn on the turn signal and it keeps the Blue Cruise active, so it still keeps the autopilot functioning. So as soon as I enter the new lane, it just activates it again automatically. So let's go back to the right lane. So I change the lane myself, and when in position, it activates the cruise control or the Blue Cruise again. That's neat. You don't need to reactivate the Blue Cruise every time you switch a lane. It's really fantastic to have this driving aids on such a big car. It really helps, and I'm actually glad to see that Ford has come that far with autopilot functionality called Blue Cruise. So that was some driving experience and the dynamics. We have looked at the exterior, the interior, the specifications of the F150 Lightning Lariat trim. And I must say that I really did not expect this. I really did not expect that I, as a person, would be interested in actually buying and using a pickup truck. I mean, I don't need it in my professional life. I don't work that way. I work as a developer and IT architect and do YouTube videos on the rest of the time. This is not really what I expected, but I really get it now. I really get why the F150, not the Lightning, but the F150 in general, actually managed to be one of the top selling cars in the world last year. I really get the point. Here in Sweden, they're actually introducing the regular F150, not the Lightning. So Ford is bringing the car to the market. So the price difference between the Lightning and the V8 version of the F150 is not that big. And I don't see any reason whatsoever to buy the combustion engine version of the F150. This one behaves so good. The range, the comfort, the silence. Don't miss my next upcoming video about the F150 Lightning, where I actually measure consumption, range, acceleration and noise for real. So stay tuned. I've really enjoyed my time driving, testing, reviewing the F150 Lightning. This should be the new benchmark for pickup trucks on the market. That's it for now. Give this video a thumbs up if you liked it and subscribe to my channel. It will help me to create more content like this, and always stay electric. Thank you for watching. Speak to you soon.